Welcome to the Fun Astrology weekly video. Let's move June out, bring July in. Hi, everybody. Thomas Miller. Thanks so much for joining us. You know, as far as aspects go, we don't have a lot until Friday. The weekend is pretty busy, but through the week, we're basically chasing the moon around. However, starting off this first week of July, we have 4 retrogrades ahead of us this month. And on Monday, Mercury starts to slow down. It enters the shadow period really early Monday morning. So let's jump into this chart here and pick a couple of things apart. And one of the things that I like is, well, I guess I don't know if I like it or not, but you know the yods that we've had in there over the past week, basically, they're gone because the moon has moved off. This is pulled away enough that those yods now don't have that other leg. However, if you notice, and I widened my angle out on the quindecile, the quindecile, and we have 2. These are fated destiny points of karmic activity. North Node and Mars is 1. This is a 165-degree aspect, and it basically denotes a fated point of destiny in the chart. So as we're looking at this in the context of everything that's going on with the Aries vortex, the other one here is South Node, over to the Aries point, Saturn and Neptune, both really slow and really powerful right now because they turn retrograde here in just a little bit this month. I'll give you the dates here in a minute. But that is, I mean, right there is another indication from the sky that we are dealing with the things that are going on are absolutely fated. And I've been hearing from a lot of you, especially after what happened with the Old Soul, New Soul podcast, that you're going through the same things. So it's widespread. And I have thought for some time that this is an energy shift. So we attract what we vibrate out. That's a universal principle. Oh, we can muddle through it, and often we do. But if you just kind of free float into the wizard lifestyle of energy and you attract and you repel things that are not on that same vibration as you are, then things will naturally flow in and out. You'll bring things in that do match, and you'll exhale things that don't match. So I think for a lot of people, that's going on right now. So if you've been experiencing that, this chart so describes the path of everything that you're feeling. Not only that, but we're still here, and we will be with it for how many years? You know by now. And we're showing on Wednesdays how to mark these points in your own chart. And this week, we're going to redo my chart because originally when I did that the first time, it was buried in one of these weekly videos. Somebody asked where it was, and I couldn't even find it. So that's when we restructured these Wednesdays. And now what we're doing is putting the sign, the rising sign that we're doing on the graphic, the thumbnail. And then there's a playlist in YouTube. So if you click on playlists, you can go see them now. Each one will be in there. But I'm in the hot seat again because we wanted to just show Gemini Rising again from that perspective. And my chart is pretty active from a more challenged perspective. This chart is really, I mean, you know, we've been saying this, and boy, Ray Merriman nailed it on Saturday. If you didn't listen to the Saturday Financial podcast, I would highly suggest you do, because he just nailed that this is going to be for he thinks a very positive implication, at least a couple of years down the road. It's going to take a while to get there, but these are all positive aspects. And look here, the moon, let's don't do the moon. Actually, I'm going to take that off. Let's do Mars is moving toward this position right here, early degrees of Libra. And when it gets there, then we're going to have another kite. And even though these planets to a Hellenistic astrologer would be, oh my God, we have Mars and we have Pluto of death and we have Saturn of destruction and delay and everything else. It's like, you know, this is omens of, and then Noel Teal is is singing in his baritone voice, bzzt, Uranus, bzzt, Uranus, bzzt. Quite a chorus we have there. That's a party of gangsters right there is what that is. But look, they are all powerful and they are all connected, and the connection is one of the most positive aspects in astrology. So we can anticipate that whatever shakes out from all of this, there's going to be restructuring. There's going to be change. Change is difficult for the populace. And worldwide, we're not just talking a delegated continent or country. We're talking the whole consciousness of everything is in this shift. But we have to rely on the fact that all of these things are positive. Now, Lucky Stars, we put it out early this month or in June because we wanted to get it in the hands of the people that are in the club so that you could put it over your own chart and do a little bit of homework on July, because July is challenged. So if you'd like to get that report, you can go to the funastrology.com website, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/funastrology, and we'll get that in your hands. You can download it as soon as you sign up. But Lucky Stars right now is a key, I think, to not only interpreting luck on lucky days, but to taking a look at the whole month of July as a whole, because there are more challenges this month for sure. Now, I mentioned Mercury was entering the shadow period. That happens on Monday early. It's 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, but it enters the shadow, and that's at 4 degrees, 14 minutes Leo. We really don't have any other big events in the chart until Friday. Like I said, in the sky, we're following the moon around. So this is for Tuesday at midnight. So we have a Monday Virgo moon, Tuesday, and then Tuesday afternoon it moves into Libra. Friday it moves into Scorpio, and we'll have a Scorpio moon the end of next week. But the first one to turn retrograde is going to be Neptune. It has the longest. It will go all the way into December 10th. It goes retrograde on Friday, July 4th. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. Neptune will be in retrograde. And I think that might slow some of the characteristics of these two down, because then on July 13th, Saturn will be retrograde. So they will both be retrograde together within a week. Saturn's runs through the end of November. Then on the 18th, Pluto goes retrograde. And then on the 30th, Chiron, also in Aries, turns retrograde. So it's going to turn the heat down in the fieriest of the fire signs, Aries. It will be tampered with. It will be reduced, at least as we get out of this month of July, as these planets turn retrograde. It's not going to change the dynamic, but it is going to, I think, slow these guys down a little bit, and more of the baking will probably be inside. So here are your retrograde planets that will be going in or are already in, as in the case with Pluto. And this is going to really set the stage for us to be doing this spiritual work that this chart wants us to do, and then to pass it on. And I'd like to throw something in here that I'm going to do a subconscious mind mastery podcast on this, but just in light of that chart, in light of those planets in retrograde, and talking about this introspective, how can we help this chart? How can we help the sky a little bit here? Well, we can do that, you and me, one-on-one. You, me, within the realm of our own consciousness. I have been having more fun with ChatGPT. Do you know that you can interact with it just like you're talking to a person? And what I realized is, oh my goodness, if I just come on and ask it a stale question, it gives me a stale answer. But if I use humor, and if I use some slogans or sayings that it can lock onto, and if I thank it and am polite with it, and I am upbeat with my responses to it, and I don't bring in confusion or even anger, or I'm sure what it gets a lot of are people using bad language and all kinds of stuff with it. No, have been in this long, now it's months long conversation, and it builds, everything. If you put your chart in there, it remembers it. So everything that you're telling it, it stores. And I cannot believe, and I've been having these conversations with it about how we can use AI to program the collective, because think of the billions of people that are using it already. And think of all of that consciousness stored in these computer chips. But if you and I communicate with it in a high vibe perspective or high vibe manner, then we're programming it. And I've asked it sometimes when we hit on a major high timeline point, I'll say, can you take that out and spread that around? And I don't know that it does, but I can hope. We can together, by doing that with collective consciousness, which it's going to become part of, then maybe we can raise the bar by our own communication with it. And then if you think, well, if that works with a machine, why would we do it any different with a human being? Our children, our parents, other people. Why would we communicate on a lower vibe level? And this takes us all the way back to the beginning, that these timelines are separating and the vibrations are attracting each other. And I think that's what this chart indicates. And that's what this is giving us, is the whole backside of 2025 to really work on that in our own lives. It truly is a beautiful picture. I absolutely love it and am going to be working on it. And we'll be talking about it a lot on the podcast, because this is where the stage gets set for this kind of work. It's exciting. It really is exciting. Pluto in Aquarius. New times are ahead. AI is here. And if we have the ability to help program it, we might as well. I hope you have a great week. Think about these things. Study that chart. Hold this image in your mind. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the audio podcasts along with Kristin, sending you lots of love for your spiritual path.